What's up, y'all? Today we're talking about controlling your thoughts. So I've spoken before about this whole new thought movement that was started a while ago. Back in December, I discovered this dude named Earl Nightingale. He was talking about this idea of how your mind operates very much like a garden, and how whatever you plant in it will grow in abundance. So for example, if you grow life-giving flowers in your mind garden, it will grow that even more in multiple abundance. And if you grow poison, you will receive exponentially more poison than what you originally implanted in there. So I want to talk a little bit more about that idea and expand on it, and hopefully y'all can take something beneficial away. So yeah, the focus really is on cultivating more positive thoughts. So the whole thing about this new thought philosophy is that the more positively you think, the more positive things in life you will attract. I think it's pretty much the basis of the law of attraction theory. So basically, you attract what you think about. Earl Nightingale often says that you are what you think about. So naturally, if you think positively, you will in turn be more positive. If you start thinking more negatively, then you will in turn be more negative. It's easy to think negatively. It is. I think we have a predisposition to do that, especially as life goes on and it becomes more difficult. As a kid, life is really fun, but eventually you become disillusioned with the world and you become more aware of all of these atrocities and injustices that go on, and it's very easy to become jaded. We can't afford to let that happen because, like I said earlier, the more you plant those negative thoughts in your head, the more that they will grow in abundance. And that's really the last thing that we want, because there's enough negativity in the world. There really is. So why would you want to add to it? It's as simple as that. Why would you want to add more negativity in the world when there's enough of it already? Let's try to keep things positive, right? Part of this avoiding negativity is avoiding negative self-talk. We're all guilty of this. You do something stupid, you embarrass yourself, you mess up at work. Instead of being positive and focusing on how to prevent this in the future, taking personal responsibility for it, we instead begin to berate ourselves. Oh, you're such a stupid piece of shit. Like, what a useless waste of trash you are. Like, you should have known better. Like, what does that do? My hypothesis is that we do this as a defense mechanism. We berate ourselves and we put ourselves down first so that other people we don't have to face that from other people. We don't have to face outside criticism. Hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about criticizing me. I'm already on it. I'm saving you the trouble. But in reality, I don't really think that works I don't think it's a great strategy, because those people are going to criticize you anyway. I think it was Hamza who was talking about how the only people who are on your team are you and your mom. Those are the only people who are really going to be rooting for you. Now, I'm blessed. I am in a position where I have a pretty decent sized community. I have people who do believe in me. So keeping that in mind, right? Like, if it's just you and your mom against the entire world, what use is it to berate yourself and belittle yourself if that's what everyone else is doing already? It's actually your responsibility to think positively, try to find how to rectify the situation, take responsibility, learn from it, and prevent this thing from happening in the future. And you only do that by thinking positively. Because the more and more you start to think positively, the more and more your mind will automatically generate ideas on how to find a solution to this problem. However, if your mind is centered on negativity, it will actually give you more and more evidence for why you're incompetent, why you're stupid, lazy, this, that, and the third. When in all reality, you don't have to be those things. Your mind is just Your mind, your subconscious is just fulfilling the orders that you are consciously giving it, which is, give me reasons why I can't do this thing. And you're almost just giving yourself excuses to not pursue what it is what you want to pursue. You're giving yourself excuses to not be successful. And I can't allow that. I can't allow that for myself, and I certainly can't allow it for the people I'm around. It doesn't matter how you feel. As long as you remain positive, you don't allow your negative emotions, which are temporary. Your feelings are fleeting. They're there for a second and then they're gone. If we make it a conscious habit, like a mantra, we say it all the time: I will not allow my emotions, my negative emotions, to affect my conscious reality. Meaning, I will not allow my negative emotions to affect how I'm thinking. I will not allow my negative emotions to affect my worldview filter, to generate more negative outcomes. Does that make sense? Now, a lot of people have a negative connotation with the law of attraction mindset, and I think it's because there's a common misunderstanding, right? So people think that law of attraction is just like, oh, if I just feel good, and if I think about having $1 million, then it'll just magically come to me. Obviously, that's not how that works. Obviously, you don't just wish for something and it comes to you. You have to work towards it to acquire those things. Now, Earl Nightingale has also redefined the word success. Success is no longer the acquisition of material things. It is instead the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So what does that mean? It means success looks like becoming a better version of yourself. So how do we do that? How do we become successful? Well, we set clear goals. That's what I did with starting out this channel. I had set clear goals, and my goals aren't really the same as they were all those months ago in like November, December time frame. My goals have changed quite a lot since then, but they only change as a result of me changing as a person. Because as you change, as you develop, as you grow, so too will your perspective. Since then, I've learned about the work silently mantra. I've learned about working silently and not blabbing your goals out to everyone. That's why I haven't really been talking about what my goals are on this channel, because I don't really want to feed into that thought habit of constantly like giving into that temptation, blurting out what my goals are, and then immediately losing the motivation to do it. I'd rather just keep the goals to myself, show you what my progress is along the way. Does that make sense? What is more important than the goal itself is the process, but you can't have a process without the goal. And we're in this constant state of acquiring that goal and then wanting more and then acquiring another goal. It's fine, that's part of the process, but you have to have those clearly defined and set goals. This is something that Jordan Peterson talks about too, is like people are afraid to define their goals because you're not just clarifying conditions for success, you're also clarifying conditions for failure. And people don't want to know when they fail. But that's the only way that you learn, is through failure. And another concept, right, is failure is not a person, it's a description. You are not a failure, you have failed, which is part of the process. What matters is not the failure itself, what matters is how you react to that failure. And if you have a negative mindset, right, if you have negative thought habits, you're going to take that failure and attribute it to yourself as a person rather than an opportunity to grow and expand as a person. So have clear goals. It's the only way you can actually define where you're going. And it's the only way you can actually track whether or not you're making any sort of progress at all. And finally, take action. Take action. It's not enough to think about these things. It's not enough to pontificate about it. You actually got to do the damn thing. You actually got to put your nose to the fucking grindstone and work your balls off. All right? Because nothing happens unless you actually take that first step. Depending on what level you're at, setting the goal may be the first step. But you just got to do it. You got to figure out what it is that you want. And you might be wrong, right? most people don't really know what it is they actually want. So that could be the goal itself, figuring out what it is you actually want. But nothing happens unless you actually take that first step. Nothing happens unless you take that leap of faith. So you just gotta do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it. All right, y'all. That's it for this one. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.